Alright guys, so I stumbled across this pretty disturbing TikTok from this mother who is having some issues with her son's drama teacher. Now I'm not sure exactly how old her son is, but apparently, allegedly, the teacher has been taking the son on what it sounds like to be dates, right? Like the teacher is taking her son to go out to eat, to get coffee or whatever, right? After school without the mother's permission or knowledge. And she has been complaining about this, and allegedly the school is not doing anything about it. And I want to talk about this because again, this is one of the more interesting stories that I have heard about the craziness that goes on in school and what these teachers are trying to do with these kids. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play the video. Roll the clip.
We're talking about how my son is possibly being groomed by his teacher, and I wanted to expand on a couple of things. It's not just that this teacher took my son out to eat in his personal vehicle after school hours and didn't ask permission. He also told my son if he didn't start eating with him in his room during lunch, that he would be removed from the play. He told my son after we reported this that he would apologize to my son if he would start eating with him again in his classroom. So there is some quid pro quo going on. And the biggest thing for me is how my son is reacting to all this. Something about this situation is upsetting my son deeply. He felt unsafe, and for me, that's enough reason for the school to investigate it, instead of blowing him off, threatening him, and actively punishing him. If the school stays silent on this, they're complicit. This first clip is him talking to my son in class, in front of all the other students.
Rather than messaging me on my phone. You have my fucking email and my cell phone number. Stop being a child.
So let's get this straight. Since you're too cowardly to stay on the phone with me, but you were brave enough to call me and start this, let me tell you how this goes.
And that was the start of a 1.5-minute ranting voicemail that happened when this teacher called us back, me and my mom. And we only had this guy's phone number because he had given it to my son, my minor son. A lot of that recording has my son's name, it has names of other teachers in it, so I cannot share the whole thing.
Longer welcome to be part of this production, and he will be removed out of the 6-hour class.
Through most of the voicemail, he's attacking us, thinking that we're calling him because Charlie didn't get a certain role in this school play that this choir teacher is directing. That was not why we were calling him. We were calling him to know why our minor son was in his personal vehicle and went to Panera Bread with him, and then he brought them home without ever getting our permission. But he hung up on us, he called back, and that's what he thought, and he threatens my son with being removed from the play.
The reason I told you to grow a brain is because on what planet do you think that was appropriate for you to call?
So we took that full voicemail and we took the recordings that my son made, a video that my son made, some text messages between the two of them to the principal's office. The principal called my son into his office yesterday and said, "You are removed from the school play and don't ever record a teacher without their permission or their knowledge again." So I think the bigger issue here is that a grown man is taking a minor child in his personal vehicle, and the school has nothing to say about that. Now, one small update. I did hear back from the superintendent, and they let me know that they're investigating it. So we'll see how things go. But I just want to say it should not be this difficult for any parent to confront someone that they are concerned about, especially if it concerns grooming, coercion, or quid pro quo. And if a student comes forward and is punished by the school, my son asked the principal, he said, "Why am I being punished for this?" Then you're preventing students from getting help in the future. So just a small update on my son and his school. Today, the principal called my son back into the office and they apologized, but then they started to question my child. And they were asking him, did Mr. So-and-so do anything of a sexual nature? Did he make you feel uncomfortable? Were you intimidated? All these, kind of questions. And here's the thing. There are professionals in place to ask these kind of questions so that you're not asking what's called leading questions. And also talking to my son about that kind of stuff without me present is another issue. So at this point, I'm thinking I may have to pull my son out of this school, which really sucks because it's his senior year and he really wanted to graduate with his friends. How would y'all handle this?
Yeah, so when I first heard this story, right, when I first heard this from this mother, I was like, I'm not necessarily sure if she is being 100% transparent about the whole context revolving this situation, okay? She could have easily played more of those voice messages, okay? She could have bleeped out the parts where he's giving out, personal information or whatever, so that we can get more context in regards to exactly what's going on here, right? But I started looking through her TikTok, and she doesn't seem like a conservative mother or a Republican or anybody that would just be making up a story for clout, right? She looks like one of those mothers that would be totally fine with a teacher doing this if it was to another parent's child, right? Because she wants to be woke, or she wants to be not a bigot, not a transphobe or whatever, right? But when it comes to her children, though, she is totally not for it, right? That's the type of parent she looks like. So, I'm going to say I believe her, but I'm going to put a caution on it, okay? But regardless, if what she says is true, right, that this art teacher or this drama teacher took her son out on a date, took him to Panera Bread to have, adult talk time, right? Adult play time. Then there's a couple things. Where's the father, right? Where is the father first and foremost? Where is the man of the house? There's probably not one. Okay. I believe this is a single mother of 4. Because, if the father was there, this would be something that the father would handle. Obviously, I don't think any father in America, a good one, would be fine with a adult male taking his son out on a date, right? I'm pretty sure most fathers would be absolutely furious. Okay, they would be losing their minds, right? 2, if the school's not doing anything about this, you should call the police, right? I mean, I think the next step is calling the police, okay? And then 3, you should remove your child from school. Now, again, I don't know exactly what grade he's in. Like, if he's actually a senior in high school, or maybe, I don't know, he's in 8th grade or something like that, 5th grade. I'm not sure exactly what she meant by senior. I understand her reasoning behind, okay, my son has friends that go to this school. He's been there. He got, play sports, whatever. I understand all that. However, what's more important, right? Your son being uncomfortable with this teacher and the things this teacher's allegedly doing, or, him staying there and graduating with his friends, right? I'm just saying, I think one thing is far more important than the other, okay? Again, we're talking about what she says is a grown man allegedly taking her son out on a date. Allegedly. I think those are the 3 things she has to do. But, again, in 2022, I'm not surprised to hear stories like this because it seems like this type of stuff is happening all over the place. And I'm not surprised if a school is covering this up and basically trying to punish the student for speaking out about it, because the last thing that a school wants nowadays, right, is to be exposed doing this type of stuff, right? So, again, when they're trying to cover things up, they tend to dig themselves in a deeper hole. As you heard here at this school, apparently, tried to apologize later. And then instead of, trying to handle this with, the parent, right, they try to handle it with the child, right, by asking him, what happened to him and stuff like that without the parent being there. Again, just digging deeper into the rabbit hole here, because the whole point of the parent complaining was, the fact that this teacher was allegedly hanging out with her son alone. Okay. And then you got the principal hanging out with her son alone, asking about sex, right? Again, I know why the principal was doing it, but, again, in a situation like that, you got to have a parent there. And again, regardless of, if this whole story is true or not. If that teacher did, in fact, take that kid out to Panera Bread after school, and then you let the parent know, then obviously that is a fireable offense, in my opinion. Like, there should be zero tolerance for a teacher even thinking about doing that. Like, there's no reason why a teacher should want to do that or would be compelled to do something like that. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.